It's funny. Sometimes the most common, everyday things hold the biggest secrets. And today, we're going to crack one open that's been hiding in plain sight, inside a word you probably say dozens of times a day. So let me ask you something right off the bat. How many words do you think you really need to get by in a language? I mean, to really communicate effectively. Are we talking thousands, tens of thousands? Well, what if I told you that number is way, way smaller than you'd guess? Get this. The answer is just 850. Seriously, that's the magic number behind a system called Basic English, which was designed to be a super efficient way for people to communicate internationally. The whole idea is that with this core set of 850 words, you can pretty much say anything you need to. So, let's talk about the power of these 850 words. To really get a feel for the genius behind this whole system, we don't have to go through the entire list. No way. We're going to see how it works by putting just one of those words under the microscope. And the word we're going to focus on is will. Just 4 letters. It seems so simple, so basic, but as a key part of that basic English list, it is doing some serious heavy lifting. Way more than you probably realize. All right, so let's properly meet the word will. Now, on the surface, it seems totally straightforward, right? But what's so fascinating is just how much complexity is jammed into this one little word. And here is the big reveal. The whole reason we're doing this deep dive. Will isn't really just one word. It's acting like at least 4 different words. Yeah, you heard that right. 2 different kinds of verbs and 2 different kinds of nouns. Okay, first step, will as a future action. We're going to start with the version you know best, the one you use all the time to talk about what's coming next. So its first job is to be what's called a modal verb. Now, don't worry about the grammar jargon. All that means is it's a helper verb that shows you're absolutely certain about something happening in the future. It's about what you know is going to happen. This is a perfect example. The sun will come up. See, that's not a hope, it's not a maybe, it is a fact. It's a statement of absolute certainty. That is will in its first and most common role. But that same little modal verb has another trick up its sleeve. It's not just about facts, it's also about intention. It's the will you use when you've decided to do something. When you say, I will go to the store, you're making a statement. You're saying, I have made a plan. This is my intention. So you see, same word, will, but a totally different flavor. We've moved from talking about a future fact to declaring a personal plan. Okay, everybody, brace yourselves because we're switching gears to a completely different kind of verb. Will can also be a transitive verb. All that means is it's an action word that does something to an object. And this one is all about passing things on. Now look closely at this sentence. He willed his coin collection. It's not about the future anymore. It's a past action. He performed the act of willing. And the big clue here is the word itself. It changed to willed. That tells us we are dealing with a whole different beast. And putting them side by side like this makes it so clear. The modal verb we use for the future, its past tense is would. But this transitive action verb, its past tense is willed. They behave differently because, they are different verbs. They just happen to look identical in the present. Pretty wild, right? So that's the story of will, the verb, but we are only halfway done. Now let's pivot and look at how will works as a driving force when it's a noun. First, will can be a countable noun. That just means it's a physical thing you can literally count. And hey, this should sound a little familiar. It's that legal document that lays out what you want to happen when you're gone. Right here, his will states. We're talking about a specific thing, a document. And because it's countable, you can have 2 wills or talk about the family's wills. It's a concrete object. And that brings us to our 4th and final identity. Will can also be an uncountable noun. This one isn't something you can hold in your hand. This is abstract. It's a quality, a kind of internal strength you have inside you. I mean, just look at the company this word keeps. Willpower, perseverance, determination. These are not weak words. This version of will is all about an active, powerful force of character. So let's compare the 2 nouns. On one hand, you have the countable noun, a legal document. It can be plural, wills. On the other, you have this uncountable noun, a personal quality. You can't have multiple wills of determination, right? It's a single internal force. Okay, so let's pull back for a second and just take in what we've uncovered here.
It's a perfect example of the genius of simple words. We took one tiny four-letter word and found a whole universe of meaning packed inside.
And this is the real punchline. One word, four different jobs. And this incredibly hardworking, efficient little word is a core part of that basic English list of just 850 words. And that's the whole takeaway here. Simple does not mean simplistic. Systems like Basic English are so clever because they rely on these verbal power tools, words like will that are flexible enough to carry complex ideas with incredible efficiency. It's about packing big meaning into small packages. It really makes you think, doesn't it? There's so much hiding in plain sight. It leaves you wondering, what other simple, everyday words are out there, secretly doing the job of 4 or 5 different words, just waiting for us to notice?